a significant portion of the government is set to shut down tonight. And it was unclear whether the budget bill could pass. Again, reminder, there is a rider on this that defunds UNRWA for until 2025. The vote just took place a couple of minutes ago. Democrats voted for the bill, 185. And we should also be clear that it was brought in via suspension of the rules because Mike Johnson can't get Republicans to vote in a majority for anything. So
can't get it out of committee.
He can't get it out of committee, can't go through the regular process. That means that when you suspend the rules, it needs 2/3. Democrats voted for the bill, 185 in favor, 22 against. I think a lot of those 22, I don't know the specifics, but a significant portion of them are voting against it because of the UNRWA funding.
Gutting.
And 101 to 112 voted, Republicans voted for this bill. Let's get this clip. It's
which one are you thinking of?
Here's Chip Roy explaining why he was not going to vote on Real America's Voice yesterday.
Republican leadership refuses to use leverage to fight for those things. Look, you understand deal making. Former President Trump understands deal making. You can't get everything you want. None of us would say you can. But dadgummit, we should get at least something significant in the fight. We should use our leverage. And Mike Johnson blew it when he walked away from a continuing resolution that we could have extended through this year to trigger the caps that we had put in place last year, and we would have forced Democrats to the table and then leverage this. The other thing he could have done, pass a CR today that kicks this into May, trigger Thomas Massey's 1% provision, then you force Democrats to the table and say, guys, we're not going to do any of this unless we actually secure the border. But now we're getting yet another promise. Trust me, Chip, we'll secure the border when we do a supplemental on Ukraine funding. Look, most of your audience doesn't want another dollar to go to Ukraine at all. Republican leaders.
All right, so a couple of points here. One, it's tough for them to argue they want border funding because they rejected that already.
Also, this has increased Department of Homeland Security, border security, and enforcement funding in it.
And Trump would never allow Chip and his friends to vote for the border security. But the other is this. The 1% across the board reduction in spending would hit the Pentagon. And because the Pentagon gets so much money, 1% is a significant sum for them. I think it's like, what would that be? Like, we get $900 billion approximately.
So we're close to $1 billion then.
Yeah, close to
right?
Close to is it 900 million? That is, just give me the exact number on the budget number, but it's way up there. I don't know what 1% of that is, but they don't want that 1%. There's a lot of Republicans that do not want those cuts as well. There's certainly some Democrats, but I think at least you'd get close to 50-50 on Democrats being like, well, that's a trade-off. It would hit discretionary spending as well. Nobody wants that 1% across the board. And also, incidentally, it's the dumbest way to possibly budget for anything. And everybody knows that.
Really shows the fascist capture of anti-war sentiment to like, a lot of people are opposed to Ukraine aid. And what is a reason? It's like this idea that we're not doing enough fascism on the border
right.
With the money instead.
Right. Oh my God. My math must have been very, very dumb. 1% of 900 billion is 9 billion. So, thank you, Kevin from Cali. Well, I should not ever offer to do math on the fly. That does not know your strengths.
And of course, the Pentagon has, or I should say, defense spending is spread out in almost every person's district around the country, and they don't want going into an election to have all of a sudden all these jobs cut because of these cuts. All right, and then this happened. Marjorie Taylor Greene. We don't have a video. We just have a tweet. Okay. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And at one point I don't know if it was during the debate or exactly when, Marjorie Taylor Greene basically puts a motion to vacate and wanted to basically, here she explains why she did it. And I will just say, put up this picture before we even roll it, and you can see why she did it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, visual evidence here.
This is, why did Marjorie Taylor Greene do this? Here is we don't even need to hear an explanation. Yeah, I want you to roll the video in a second, but just look at this picture with all the cameras around her, and now you know why Marjorie Taylor Greene did this.
Actualized her dream.
Exactly. This worked perfectly, is what she's about to say. No. She's saying she's warning Mike Johnson. But go.
As with rules and promises to the American people that we would bring regular order back to Congress. Speaker Johnson has betrayed that by passing 3 CRs and then forcing us to pass or to vote on a 2-part omnibus, the second one being today. He also only gave us, I don't even know how, we had 1 day basically to read 1,012 pages, breaking the 72-hour rule. This is a betrayal of the American people. This is a betrayal of Republican voters. And the bill that we were forced to vote on forced Republicans to choose between funding to pay our soldiers and in doing so, funding late-term abortion. This bill was basically a dream and a wish list for Democrats and for the White House. It was completely led by Chuck Schumer, not our Republican Speaker of the House, not our conference, and we weren't even allowed to put amendments to the floor to have a chance to make changes to the bill. I filed the motion to vacate today, but it's more of a warning and a pink slip. I respect our conference. I paid all my dues to my conference. I'm a member in good standing, and I do not wish to inflict pain on our conference and to throw the House in chaos. But this is basically a warning, and it's time for us to go through the process, take our time, and find a new Speaker of the House that will stand with Republicans and our Republican majority instead of standing with the Democrats.
So apparently, Jake Sherman says that on a motion to vacate, she would have had to go to the mic and call up the resolution. Then the leadership can delay the vote for 2 legislative days. That would put this until after recess, 2+ weeks from now. But she would have had to ask for privilege, and otherwise it's just something that sits around, but she didn't do that, and she explains that there. So it was basically a symbolic motion of discontent from Mike Johnson.
Didn't they just vote on it? Did you just send the what is this 286 134 vote?
That's the budget vote.
Oh, that's the budget vote.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't
Okay.
She didn't privilege this. So
they haven't voted on it. And they will.
And they may not. Like, the point is, she said this is a pink slip, right? And she would have to prioritize.
Well, but the bottom line is, she said she was doing it as a warning shot. Well, what I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, now he did exactly what you said he shouldn't do.
But I got attention for it.
That's exactly it.
The warning is that
yes.
I'm going to continue to have people surround me with microphones until America gives up.
And then
I get 8 different news reporters from like 24 different news agencies can come to me this morning.
And she'll get a bunch of campaign donations, by the way. That's part of what makes her an actual bigwig in the Republican Party, because she has a small dollar fundraising operation that is much more profitable.
I think she's like number 2 or 3 in fundraising in the entire caucus.
With McCarthy out, she might be 1, honestly.
Yeah.
But hey, look, the Republican voters are not Donald Trump. Just kidding, they're Marjorie Taylor Greene.